So today we are going to discuss storage account. So we'll select the storage account. So you can see here, right, storage account. So click that, you can see the storage account player, and you can create. You can create using this.
Every VM having separate storage account. So
Sorry,
every VM having storage account separate.
no,
Means each VM having each storage account, right?
no, VM doesn't have a storage account.
Okay, this storage account is different.
The concept is a disk. That so disks are different. Storage account is different.
Okay.
That we talk about only managed disk, unmanaged disk. That is different. This storage is different.
Okay.
So once create a storage account, click on the storage account. You can see that on the details you have to select the subscription. So currently we have a free trial. We are selecting, and I'm selecting the resource group where my storage account has to be created. I am creating the storage account name. I'm giving the demo STG in storage account 01. So I'm going to create this also in South India. South India. There is no South India for this series and it's not available. South Asia is there. Okay, India will have only this. Okay, we have this. We have a South India, yes. So once you selected the region, you have given the name of the storage account and you have given the region of that. So which region you are going to choose that where you want your storage account want to be create. Okay, and we have a performance. So performance are two types. One is the standard, one is a premium. Okay, if you go for standard, we have a number of redundancy options. Okay, so this is a standard. This comes as a general purpose v2. Before this, we have a when we have a classic storage account, and previously we have a general purpose v1 account. Actually, the storage account type is. So now currently all are general purpose v2 accounts. Okay, the standards. So once we have the performance, we have selected as a standard. So we have a redundancy called LRS, ZRS is available. It's not refreshed. Yeah, for this reason we don't have ZRS. Let me select other reason. I need to explain you. Let me go for this reason. Okay, if you go here, you can see for this reason if we have all redundancy options we have. So one is LRS and one is ZRS, GRS and geo zone redundant. So these are the high availability and like we can call it as high availability or redundant. Okay, if you choose the standard only, we have these many options. If you go premium, we have only LRS and uh, zone redundant we have. Um, so based upon the premium, we have a different types: page, blah blah, and file share. So these three storage accounts we have in the storage account. So So first tell me what is a storage account and what are the different types. Do you have any idea about what are the different types of storage accounts?
Oh, bro.
So the
Storage types.
Mhm.
Yes, storage types like standard SSD, premium SSD, standard SSD.
Oh, those are the disk storage types in the disk. You don't compare with the VM storage and storage account. Those storage concepts is different, and the storage service storage accounts are different. Okay, you can't compare with the disk storage and the normal general storage. Okay, when you talked about the Azure storage account, the basically Azure storage is just they're giving the storage service, and that using that storage account, you are going to create a storage account. Basically, storage accounts are four types. One is block, file, table, queue. So these are the basic four types. What is block, page, block, file, table, queue. So these are the four storage account types in Azure. Okay, if you someone ask you to what are the different types of storage accounts in storage accounts, you should be very specific. Not the storage types. What are the different types of storage accounts? File, table, queue, block. So these are the four storage accounts in Azure. Okay, so once you want to create a storage account, so these are the options you will follow that to create a storage account. Okay, you'll give the reason and you give the storage account name and the performance. When you talk about the performance, if you use a standard, it will create both all four storage account types. You can able to create in the single storage. Once create, I will show you the differences. Okay, so suppose now you have choose this standard. Okay, once you create a while selecting the performance, you selected as standard. In the single storage you will get a blob, file share and table queue. These four storage account types you can use for this single storage account. If you go for the performance, you have only page blob and blob and file share. Only these three types only it is available. So this is only for high performance. Okay, so that's why when you coming from the premium, only these types only we have. But this when you choosing this premium, if you want to choose any one option only, all these three types it won't come. These three types when you only when the performance you are selecting, that time only these three comes. Okay, but when you talk about basically when you talk about the storage accounts, there is a four only: blob, file, table and queue. So these are the four Azure storage accounts. Okay, where it comes when you talk about only in the performance, to increase the performance we have a again segregated with the blob and file share and page block. These three types will come in the premium only. Okay, so let me discuss we'll discuss about standard. So when you choose a standard, so while creating with this name, you are going to create the storage account with this name. Okay, that comes as a general purpose too. And for standard, we have a LRS, means if you have any hardware failures within the data center, maybe hardware that host storage account host failure or rack failure or drive failure. So that kind of cases, it will have the redundant. Okay, you are getting the high availability for the storage account. If you are using a ZRS, you are selecting for if you want to data center level failures, in that cases you are going to select ZRS. And GRS is going for a regional failures. So like you want to use as a secondary backup, like your storage account want to make to be replicated to another region. If this current region if it fails, then that you can replicate primary to secondary. So same data is available from the secondary region. Okay, if this primary storage account where currently we have selected as a east US, right? Yeah, so if currently once you create while selecting the GRS, you can enable, but by defaultly if you select the GRS, it won't get replicated to the secondary region. You have to manually you have to choose. So this is US is the primary region, and other region, second region, you should be select that secondary region. So which region your storage account has to be replicated. Okay, so by default it won't replicate, but once you enable this, the storage account have the capability to can enable the replication from one region to another region. Okay, and what about the geo zone redundant? In the sense, we have combination of both ZRS and GRS. We have in the GZRS case. When if this case both like data center failures and regional failures, it will get support for this GZRS, Geo Zone Redundant Storage Account. It will support both data center failures and regional failures. Okay, you guys are understanding.
Yes.
See, basically we have, as I said, right, 4 types of storage account. One is blob, okay, file share, table and queue. Okay, those are the basics. Okay, once those are the basics, right? Once you want to create a storage account, if you select the standard, these 4 accounts, 4 storage types will get in the single storage. Okay, that we can see later while after creation. Okay, and in that we have a redundant option like high availability. If you have any data center failures or within the data center we have hardware failures or like a region failures, we have a high availability of that storage accounts. So how you are providing the storage account? In the sense, this way you are providing the, while selecting the redundant options, you are providing the high availability of the storage account. Suppose if you want to replicate the storage account, so one region to another region for high availability, then it should be enabled for the GRS. So these are the options we have in the standard. Okay, like it's not specifying for the which storage you are going to replicate or supporting. In the standard, all 4 storage accounts is going to support in the performance based. And if you going for the premium, it's going to support only these 3 storage account. It's been added for the page blob here. Okay, they have, as for the performance based, they have in the premium storage account, premium performance, they have given additional feature called page blob. But in a general storage account types, we don't have a page blob. We have only blob and file share only. Okay, this has been based upon the premium support, so they have added. So what is the page page blob in the sense? So where we have giving the best high ups like read rate operations, we have to choose the page blob. And block in the sense, if you want to rate high transaction rate and the best of high transactions or low transactions, it should be balanced based upon the request. So then we can use for the black block. Okay, and what is the file share? This is the using for the we have more than 100 TBs, 500 TB, 600 TB, and more than high. It will support more than 100 TB, and we have it's a huge data is going to be transition. So those case only will select the file share. When you say, when you want to file share has to support more than 100 TB, then you have to go for only premium, and we have to select the file share. And this is the options where premium account types. Okay, and each account, if we have 3, right, for each account, so we have a ZRS and LRS for the high availability. Same like
What about table block, bro?
table, that will I will show you that it will not come, that all 4 it will come as in standard. So that's why for standard all it will come by default. That's why we don't have selection option. As standard storage account, we have this option. So it comes when we need a high transaction rate. Those storage account will support only for these 3 only. So other 3s it won't support for the like premium, like high transition rates.
Okay.
Okay. If you create the storage account, you can understand that. Okay. So when if you user want specifically requested for the premium storage, you have to ask that what stand you need a standard storage account or you need a premium storage account. If you specify the premium storage account, you have to specify that you want block blob or file share or page blob. Okay, and you have to ask that what are the redundant type do you need. Okay, and if it is not specified the premium, if you ask a standard for only, you have to select the only redundant options. Okay, so I'm just currently I'm selecting as a standard. Okay, I'm going for advanced. So these are the options are also very important actually. So here it's going to be, you can see, if you want your storage account want the blob, you should want to be access or the public access, then you have to enable here or you can able to disable here. Okay, so here we are enabling the storage account key access. So if you want to enable the authentication, that accessing method using storage account key, then you have to enable this. You don't want to be allow the storage account to access using a storage account key, then you can disable this. And here we have a default to Azure Active Directory authentication in the Azure portal. If you want to use Azure Active Directory to access your storage account, then you have to enable. So currently we are not using any Azure Active Directory to authenticate to access the storage account, right? So we are not using it here. And do you know about the TLS versions, right? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So suppose we have different TLS version in OS level, we have right TLS versions 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. So if
Yes.
for any specific applications you are using for this storage account, you want to be only a specific TLS version only to support for that application, and you want to required a 1.0, 1.2 or 1.1. So based upon the requirement, you can select the TLS versions, or and normally we should recommend to latest TLS version. You should recommend to use the storage accounts. Okay, so this is just to want to know these options. Okay, and here we have a
First option.
sorry, this is
First option request security.
for the secure transfer option. You always we look for the require secure transfer for the data, right? So we need this option. So our normally we used to encrypt that, and we used to make them the data should be secure transfer, right? So that we need a REST API in the, this REST API is the one of the layer they are using in the backend layer of the storage account.
Okay. When you transfer the data, the test API is required, right? Hence, like security purpose.
We have other option also, encryption, storage encryption. We can encrypt that storage account. That is the custom option, or we can enable the default encryption. That encryption is protecting the data, but this is to transfer the data. Okay, securely transferring the data using the REST API operations.
Okay.
Normally, we won't talk about this in always, so that's why even just we are reading that, so that's why I didn't tell you. Okay, if this is not, we are not going to disable anything. Okay, this is the basic recommendation from the Azure. We are using this option. Okay.
That is default enabled, right?
And coming to this data lake storage Gen 2. So this is nowadays it's been popular actually. So because of this naming hierarchical namespace. So hierarchical namespace in the sense, suppose you have file servers, SFTP, FTP servers you have, right? How you are managing?
Yes, bro.
So how, suppose you've created a file, okay, or folder, and you in that folder you have created another folder, okay, then you are accessing that file share with the namespace. You should be know that the hierarchical namespace of that, and you should be enable the NTFS permissions to provide the access for the folders, and it been to sorry, to provide the access for this folders to access the with the namespace. How you are accessing the file shares with the namespace, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to enable that namespace for the storage account, we can enable here.
If not, we can't access.
You in the sense that file how the structure you follow for the NTFS and the folder permissions you can't able to provide. Just you can create the like a structure called you can create a containers, and you can create, you can copy the data into there. That's it. How you are maintaining the SFTPs and FTPs, that kind of hierarchy, it won't be available.
Okay.
So you can't manage the permissions, everything. So you can provide the read write permissions, but that inheritance permissions, those things and all options and all, it won't come. So default,
If we disable this.
yeah, if you uncheck, so the hierarchical namespace, it won't come to access the shares or shares. And if you this hierarchical namespace if enable only, then it will work. The storage account works as a like especially only for the blob, not for the file share. The file share, it will work as a SMB 3.0, and NTFS, it's been by default enabled. Okay, so it will work for the file storage account. It will work by default. You can able to mount the storage account to your local machines or any servers. Okay, you can provide the access for the specific user, or if you have a single sign-on is enabled, or Azure Active Directory authentication, this option enable, you can do. Otherwise, you can access the storage account using storage account key, or we have a SAS token. We can generate that. We can access the storage account. But the blob storage, you can't mount as a share. You can't mount as a drive, or you can't access as a share. That blob storage you can't do. Only file share, it will work by default, because of Microsoft only is enabled for the SMB protocol 3.0, and NFS has been enabled for this file share. But blob, we don't have that option. For that, this option has to be enabled for the blob. Enable hierarchical namespace, we have to enable. Once we enable that namespace, here you can see for the blob storage, you can enable that FTP options, it will work. Okay, if you don't want FTP, then you can enable the network file system here. If you enable the either one option, you can enable how you want. If you want to be SFTP feature, or you want to be network file system feature, you want, based upon that you can enable based upon your requirement. So what is NFS first, then only I can, if you understand what I'm doing. What is NFS? Hello.
Network file share.
Network file system, right? So once you enable the network file system, it will supporting NFS and SFTP, but SFTP can't be enabled simultaneously. Only either one only you can enable. If you want to be, NFS has to be enabled. So if you NFS will work only for only file system, like you want to provide access with the hierarchy, one folder you want to provide different, and if you root folder, if you provide a read access, it has to be inherit for all the permissions. Like that, it has to be act, you want to manage for NFS permissions, and then you have to enable the NFS. So I don't want, I want only to enable for SFTP. You can enable for the SFTP feature for the blob. So once you enable, then you can access as a share for the blob storage. But this feature service is not enabled for all the reasons. Okay, few reasons only currently it is available. So if user, if in maybe in future, okay, or when you are working, if user ask you to need to mount as a blob storage to my VM, so by default it won't possible. which storage account is possible in the sense, while creating this option, once created, you can't enable this. Okay, while creating the storage account only you have to enable. After creation of storage account, you want to enable this feature, it's not possible. So while creating, so that has to be come as a plan before creating a storage account. Then only we can enable that feature to mount that. Okay, but that is currently is not the enable for all the regions actually. Only few regions only, UK West or UK Central or something. Only 2 or 3 regions only I see that this feature is enabled.
Okay.
Okay. So that way these two features will work. When these features is required, only when the blob has to work to mount for the servers. Okay, where to access as a file share, then only it will work these two features. Okay, but file share, we have a 4 types, right? There is a blob and file share and table and queue. This is only for blob. File share by default that SMB 3.0 protocol is enabled and NTFS also is enabled. We can directly if you have a storage key or any authentication access you have, then you can mount that storage account to your server, any server. Okay, and this is only when you want to enable the cross region. So this it won't be support for all the regions. Okay, if you want to allow cross tenant, suppose now this is my account, right? Root account, do you remember that root account is a tenant?
Yes.
So you have multiple tenant accounts. Okay, you want to replicate the storage account to one tenant, one root account to another root account. You have multiple accounts, then only you can able to enable this allow cross tenant application. But this feature also is not allowed for all the regions. But while you're trying to look for this, you have to check for the prerequisite before doing this. Okay, but currently we don't have multiple tenants, right? And moreover, we have to have this account. So whenever if we interview, they won't all the options they won't use actually, but they will ask you to test you. Do you have information about? Do you know about what is that options? Okay, and next is access type. So these two questions also they'll ask. So what is the access type? So access type in the sense there are two types. One is hot and cold. So the hot is whenever very frequently the data transitions you are using the write operations. So those kind of requirement will use for the hot type. So they called as a cool type when you use where kind of RQL kind of storage accounts. So suppose I have a servers and I want to store the backups for a long period. Okay, so I'm not going to use as a daily, right? So I'm just going to store the data to that particular storage account, and whenever it's required, some the application team or project team they'll need whenever they need. If they requested that time only, I'm looking for that. So that kind of cases we have to choose as a cold. Because of this storage account act as a archive storage account means because of when we are not using very frequent transactions, like infrequent transactions we'll use for the code. Okay, so why you are using this infrequent as a code in the sense, if you use this the cost is less compared to this. Okay, so that's why whenever you are not using very frequent transactions of data, that time you have to choose a cold access type to create a storage account. So these options you can able to change after creating the storage account. Also you can able to modify this option access type. You can change it to cold or hard, and hard to cool you can able to change this. Okay, whenever have a frequent data transitions, that kind of storage that kind of requirement will create a will choose the hard type. Okay, for the storage account. If the requirement is for the just copying the files and they are not using on the day-to-day activities, and they want to access for like 6 months or 1 year like that based upon the requirement, so that type of storage account will use the whole types access type. Okay. And now currently we are using the standard, right? Here we have choose as a standard storage account. For that it has to support large file shares, then you can enable this large file. If you want to support for the large file systems, it has to support, and we can enable it. Okay, but currently we have not enabled. See, once you enable this, you can't convert as a that redundant options, you can't convert as a geo. So that is one disadvantage if you enable this. So if you want to in future, if you want to enable the replication from one region to another region, if this large file shares if you enable, then you can't enable the redundant, the geo replication you can't enable. Okay, so this is the options in advance. Okay, if you go for network, so we have a networking connectivities are three types. One is public endpoints, all networks. Public endpoint selected networks and private networks. So these three, how it's going to work. So if you select this all networks, this storage account this storage account is allowing for all the networks, irrespective of the networks. Even you can able to access for the internet and private network, anywhere you can able to access if you select this public endpoint all networks. So anywhere, any missions you can able to access. Okay, if you select this public endpoints selected networks, for this you have to specify that which network you want to allow. So this is my subscription. So already I have a VNet. So for this reason I don't have VNet, right? Yeah. So I'm selecting the virtual network and I have a two subnets actually. One is the based in, sorry, three subnets. One is a demo based in subnet and Azure based in subnet, and one is a default subnet. So my VM is created in this subnet, right? So I have selected here. Okay. So here, this option, you are going to select the network, which network has to be allowed public endpoint. So you are going to define the network here. When you choose this option, the connectivity method, you are going to choosing the that network details, like which network you want to allow this public endpoint. So that way you can enable. If not only if you want to enable multiple subnets also, you can enable here. So this way you can select what are the, instead of allowing for the all the networks, you want this storage account, it's not required to allow for everyone, and it should be allow only specific selected networks. That case you can use these selected networks. And these things we are going to discuss in the our post creation, that we have option how to manage this. So we are going to discuss more about this, but currently know that if you select the public endpoints, it's going to allow for the all the networks. And if public endpoint you selected networks only, then you are defining the network only the allowed networks here. If what are the networks and subnets which you are selecting, those networks only this storage account is going to be accessing. So apart from that, other network range, the storage account won't be available to access. And one more option is private endpoint. So the private endpoints is the one of the more secure feature actually. So here we are allowing all networks, and you are filtering the selected networks. Here we are going to create a private endpoint for this storage account to restrict the public access of the storage account, and you are allowing only for the private network range. Means within your network range only you are allowing the access. Apart from that, you are restricting the public access. So that way you can able to restrict the public access for the storage account. So normally the organizations won't allow us to enable that all the networks are to, or your storage account should not expose your public network. So that cases we have to prefer that to create a private endpoints or selected networks. Both we can based upon the case we can use these two options. Okay, and we are going to test these two options. Okay, how it will works. Okay, now let me use for the public currently. Okay, all networks. So this routing method I'm using for the default Microsoft networking routing. So I'm not going for internet routing. Okay, and I'm going for data production. And here the data production, we have a enable soft delete for blob. So if you deleted the blob, if you enable this by mistaken, if you have deleted the blob, okay, you can able to restore your blob within 7 days. Okay, and the same like that, if you enable this container, so container also you can enable that container level feature. So inside the blob, if you deleted the container, you can able to restore the container using within the retention period. So same like in the file share also. Only blob and file shares only we have that soft delete option. So other table and the queue we don't have soft delete options. Okay. So I'm giving this only I'm not enabling for the container level. Soft delete I'm enabling for the blob level and file share level. And here we have a tracking versioning actually. So we have versioning for the blob and enabling a change feed. So we won't use this mostly. We will use this some cases. Okay. This versioning also based upon the reason it will all the reasons it will support. Okay. This versioning in the sense what enabling versioning for the blob in the sense suppose we have multiple it's just a tracking of the versioning like who changes last modified and who created a new updated file. You anyone know about the git?
No, bro.
So there we have a versioning. Okay, suppose you have created a one, so you have your team have a 3 developers. Okay, so one resource doing one on task and they are completing their task and they are updating into the master file. Okay, so they're updating it's create one in any each resource when the updating the in single file, that once anyone is updated that comes as a new version and it will get be saved in the file. So like that we have each like update it will create as a different versions. So those versions is going to be tracked in the blob storage. That version is just going to tracking the blob storage. Only blob storage only we have that versioning enabling versioning for the blobs. So that all versioning automatically is going to be tracked that. And if you have anything fail and you want to previous version and you can use that and you can restore that versions. Suppose like if you want to make you understand more, so suppose you have created a one file, okay, and in that one more resource your teammate done some changes. So what you created it is come as a version of file 1.1. Okay, and if another resource which you again new resource came and modified that again file, so again one more version is going to create 1.2. So you have a now 1.1 and 1.2. So what is the different changes? It will be saved as a different versions. That version it can be enabled and tracking in the blob. Okay, we don't have other storage account, we don't have that versioning features. Okay, and next we have encryption. So here we have you can use by default it will be encrypted using mmk, or if you want to use a custom key then you have to create a keyword and you have to generate that key. So you have to select that keyword and you have to initiate the identity has to be created. Do you remember that when we are creating in the VM level we see that identity? So that kind of identity, user identity, you have to create system identity or user identity. So here we need to create a user identity and we can from that vault we are selecting the key. Okay, using that key we are creating the encryption using a custom. That you can see if you select all types of storages, then it will come as a blob, file, table, and queue. So all storage account by default you will get apply the encryption. If you don't want, then only want to blob or file, then you can choose this option. In the queue and table, we can ignore that encryption. So otherwise, you don't want to be managed by default by you don't want to manage by yourself, and you are just believing for that, and you are enabling this feature. So this is managed by Microsoft. It is also is encrypting for only blob or files if you want. Otherwise, you can select this. So all storages is going to be encrypting for that. Okay, this is called the encryption. And we have a enable infrastructure encryption also. So this is completely the storage account is going to encrypting instead of like a separate like a file and the blob, right? So the entire storage account we can encrypt here. That is called encryption. And if you go for tags, see, this is just to identify the resources as we discussed in the previous. Okay, nothing difference here. So just we are skipping that. And here you have to validate what are the options you have selected. So the basic information in advance, and the networking and data protection and encryption. So there is a one, you see some validation is failed. So there is a missing something. Let me go, what is missing? Storage account name is already taken. Storage account taken. Okay. So his name is asking us to give unique name here. So now it's
Storage account creation, configuration and all our team will do, bro.
sorry.
The storage account creation, configuration and all our team will do.
Yeah, as a Azure admin, we have to do the storage account creations, everything.
You don't have any storage team like that.
No, no.
Okay.
This is a service. There is nothing, right? You maybe while seeing, or maybe you have feel that there is no number of options. Okay, all the options it won't use for all the projects. Okay, based upon the project requirement, we are going to create the storage account. They are copying the data, and if they want to increase the file, so what are the activities comes for the storage account? I will explain.
Okay.
So now just to be don't confuse with the options. Like of course creation, I will tell you that how it's going to be used for those options. Okay. Just
Okay.
pause that, and I'm creating the storage account. Okay.
You not mentioned that how much storage not mentioned in this account, right?
Yeah, you don't need to mention the storage account when we have a standard. We have a default. See, normally I will explain that. Basically, when you create a storage account, blob storage and queue and table, you don't need to define the size or quota because of how much you are using. You're copying that. Based upon that, the cost is going to increase it, and you are going to pay. So you don't have control for the quotas. Okay. And file systems, we have a quota. I will tell you that how we are going to be controlled for that. Okay, how we can increase if you had the data has been contains full, and how we are going to increase that we'll discuss. So now the storage account is created, and I told you right for the 4 storage types, and these are the one. This is the blob, and we call it as a containers. We have to blob. We have to call as a blob the file share, queue, table. So these are the ones are the 4 types of storage accounts. Okay. Now let me go for the containers. Here you can able to create a number of containers. Okay, let me create one container.
Storage containers.
Yeah. So this is called a, now we have created container. Container is nothing but like is a one folder. Okay, you have created a folder, and you can click here. You can go inside that. You can copy data if you want. Okay, you can upload directly from the Azure portal also. If you user have access, you can use this method also. Okay, you can click here and you can browse, and you can upload the files.
In storage account, you create one user, that user having data in this account, right?
Sorry, no, I have not created user. So I created a with the name I
Okay, container like.
no, I created a container with the name of one name I given as a Banu. This is the container name. This is not the user.
Okay,
This is a folder. This is a folder name. You have to imagine like this.
okay.
Okay. This is a storage account. These are the four. This is the
Hmm.
storage account name. Okay. This is my storage account name. In this storage account, we have a four types. Azure storage account have four types. One is block, file,
Okay.
queue, table. Okay. These are the four storage account types. Normally, once we
Container
have
means
used,
blocks.
sorry.
Container means blocks, right?
Yeah, we will call it a blob. Okay. But
Okay.
blob container we'll call it as. Okay. So whenever once you create using the standard, did you see that performance? There we have a standard and premium, correct?
Yeah.
So when you choose a standard, you'll get this four by default. Okay, if you want to file share, you can create a file share also here. So currently we have created a blob container here, correct? So we have created a blob container with your name Banu. Okay, and you can see that, and I have uploaded the folder, one file also, one Excel also uploaded here. In this your folder, I uploaded one file here. Okay, this is my file which I have uploaded here. Okay, and now I want to provide a share. You can create a share also here. If you want to create a share, how you're going to create it? Let me create a file share. You can see, right? Once click the file share, you can click on the file share, and we are going to define the what is the file share name. I'm going to give Suman. Suman, I'll give you Suman. Okay, this is my file share name. Okay, and here you can see the performance is going to support this is okay. The maximum capacity is going to support only 5 TB. You got it? So this
Yes.
maximum is going to support 5 TB. Okay, now I'm giving the name. I have not changed anything. Okay, I'm creating it. So this way I'm creating a file share. Now file share is created. File share is created. Now how you are going to manage the like how you want to access the storage account, how you can increase that. Let me now you can see the quota is maximum supporting 5 TB. Now I want to reduce the lower size because of I don't want to use at a time. So here we have a dots, right? So you can click here and go for the edit quota, and here you can change it to 5 GB or 2 GB. Okay, and click OK. So now my current quota is 2 GB of file share. Okay, if we want to increase, then again I can go here. We don't need to record any downtime here. Okay, you can go here and you can change it to 3 or 4 or 5 and click OK. Okay, that way you can able to change the file share quota. Only file share only you can increase. Okay, apart from that table queue also you can't do anything like that. Okay, how much data you are dumping here, you're just paying for that. You are not going to control the quotas for queue, table, and containers. Okay, if there is a quota options come in the picture only in the file share.
Okay.
Okay. So now if somewhere there is a SQL database, has to be some queues, some message. When what cases and what is the which storage account will use? Now we are going to discuss. Let me open my document. So here, so what is the Azure storage account? Okay, storage account is just cloud storage solutions. So that we are, as a modern data store scenarios, we are using that. They are offering the different massive scalable objects like the storage for store the data objects or file systems, the data like a message or queues. Okay, that we are going to that storage accounts we are going to use in different cases. As I told you, right? We have a different types of storage accounts in use. Okay, so that you can see four different types of storage account. One is file, blob, queue, and table. So this uses to manage file share. You can to connect for the on-prem, or you can connect from the Azure servers or any other cloud servers or any environment. Using file share, you can able to manage your shares cloud or on-prem deployments also, on-prem servers also, and on-prem also you can able to access in the file share, and you can copy how you can use the file systems, right? And the file server same like that, all kind of data you can able to copy and you can use this file share. Okay, and this is a blob. This is we can copy anything, like you don't have any quotas here. So how much data you are storing here, you can able to you are going to pay for that data for the cost. You can copy in the blob also. You can copy in all kind of data you can able to copy here. Okay, what are the text file, binary data, anything you can, videos and files, anything you can copy in the blob as well. And this is a queue. Actually, this is especially they will call some kind of applications. It has to be send an email sorry, message notification to customers or something, right? Those kind of applications will integrate it with the queue database. So this is going to store the queues and it has to send to the users. To store the messages, we are using for the queue storage. Okay, and this table storage we are going for non-SQL SQL store for schemaless. So we don't have any um, structure, right? Structureless storage or that kind of data we are sorry, schemaless and storage of structured data. That kind of data only we are storing as a in table. So what comes as a rows and columns, that kind of data inserting, so that we are using for the table storage. So I've given a brief about little bit about the each storage, how it looks like. Okay, here we can see if you go for the blob, right? So once we have a blob storage account, inside that you can, so this is the storage account. Okay, the blob storage. Now you have created a containers. So this way you can create a containers, looks like each folder. Okay, say one folder is one container, another folder is, I have given a pictures one and movie one. So these two folder, two containers. So you can copy inside the storage account. You can copy which files you want to copy here. So currently you can see I have copied in two images in the blob. Okay, and here I have copied in the one movie. So this way the hierarchy of the storage account, it will be like that. It's a blob containers in the blob. Okay, and if you go for file system, so this is normally our how our general file systems will vary, right? This has been by default SMB protocol 3 and NDFS permissions been allowed for this. And I will show you that where you can see that which protocol is going to work in the storage account. Okay, and this will work as a normal our file system, like a file server, same like we don't have any difference from this, but it will use for both Windows and Mac and Linux as well. So, but we have a, if you want to connect the different options, we have to connect using the script or manually you can mount also. So how you want to mount also we can see options. Okay, and another one is queue storage. This queue storage you can see same like that, how we have a blob storage account and blob containers and blobs, same like that in the queue like queue storage also we have this is a storage account. Okay, in this we have number of queues. Inside that you can keep the messages in the queue messages. Okay, so this way you just queue storage using to store the messages. Okay, and then is just table storage. Sorry guys. And one is table storage. Okay, Table storage is the larger amount of structured data you can storage here, and it is a non-SQL data store which accepts as unauthorized calls from inside and outside in the Azure. Like all kind of data you can able to store, that should be have a non-related data. Sorry, structured and non-related data only you can store in the storage account. Here we can give some more options. Storage, you can storing in TBs of structured data that is capable of this, and you can and web scale applications also, data also you can able to store here. Okay, and we can storing data sets that data requires complex giants. This key store procedures, that kind of data also you can able to store in this table storages. Okay. So this is the looks like that storage accounts and tables we have. So that enters the values, rows and columns that ID. Suppose you have employee ID and what is when you joined and what in the kind of banking sector, how you have managed your data, right? So those kind of data, the structured data, it will be going to store in the, so all comes as a rows and columns, the data are values, right? So those kind of data is going to be stored into the table. Okay. So this is the three types I told you like while creating, so I don't know how you can't imagine. So that's why I've given the screenshot to explain more. Okay, so that way we have, this is the containers, some blob containers and file. So what we have discussed, so same thing it's been here. Okay, this four types. Now we have created a container. In the container we have uploaded a file as a blob. Okay, and we have created as a file system. Okay, and the file system also we can click the file system. You can go inside that, and you can see if you have any data is available, or if you not, if you want to upload to that, you can upload. Same like that, you can click to upload and you can browse it. Okay, upload. You can get uploaded here. Okay, so you can see the file is uploaded here. Okay, that way you can upload. Okay, but you can't download from directly here actually. Oh, we have download option, so sorry. So we can download, if you selected that file, specific file, you can download also. Okay, but if you want to connect this file share, how you want to access this file share, suppose your VM. Okay, and that we are going to discuss. But the blob we can't mount as a network drive, or we can't access as a file share, because of we need to enable that hierarchical namespace. You understand, right? Why you need that? When you want to mount or you want to access as a file share, you need the hierarchical namespace has to be enabled for that blob container. Then only this it will work as a file share. Okay, now currently this will work by default as a file as a Microsoft is enable the feature. If you want to see, I will show you that properties. If you go or connect details, if you go, it will show you that. Okay. You can see it's using for the protocol SMB and the port 445. It's using to like accessing via the port number 445, and it's using for the port SMB port using for this. Okay, you can see here also that port which is using here. So if you allow this port, then only you can able to access that. Okay. Now you want to connect this file share, you can use this script, you can run in your system, you can able to connect. Okay, and this is Windows and this is for Linux. You can run this. and this is a Mac. You can use for this command. You can connect for the file share storage account to your machine, the Mac machine. Okay. Okay, let me now try to connect to my machine this, and you can also try. Okay, if you want I will give you that details. So first what you have to do, you have to go for the properties, get this name. Okay, copy this name, okay, and remove this and use this slash or slash, and this one also you remove this. Okay, and go for your my PC and right click and go for the map as a network drive, and you copy that name, connect at signing. Whenever I signing has to connect this share, and I'm going to connect with the different credentials. Okay, I'm giving finish. So it's asking username password. So what is the username password? So username password you can use access key here. So you can use access keys. So username is the storage account name actually. So here you can see the storage account name. You can copy. Okay, and you can copy this key, any key. Okay, click on show key and copy this access key. Okay, copy, and you are going to use for this as a password. Okay, and I'm keeping as a use my remember my credentials, and I'm clicking OK. Okay, it's connected now. Okay, see, I can able to access. You can see the path is coming from. Okay, as a which I given the letter. See, this is connected as showing as a network. Let me this. So previous training class I have done this. So let me remove this, otherwise it will be confused. It will take time to respond. So this way you can able to mount. So now I have mounted the file share to my laptop. Okay, so my personal machine I have laptop. I mounted. So you also can try. Let me ping in the chat. You can also try with the same. Okay, you guys can try and let me know.
When you mount one time, it will permanent, bro, or it will temporary.
You are given no when login at you are given that access actually, right? Whenever you log in, it has to be sure. So network drive you have mount. Okay, you have to use your remember credentials and sign in that. You have given the options. You have tick mark, right? Do you remember when I was talking? When you use that, it will be
Yes,
same.
yes.
It will be available.
Okay.
This is user and this is my password. Yeah, you guys also can try. So this way you can able to mount the file share to your systems. Okay, now how you are mounting your, see, you have internet, okay, but you don't have any connectivity for the storage account to your laptop, right? So my laptop also I'm accessing over the internet the storage account, but even though I'm able to mount the storage account uh, to my laptop, how we are going to do this? How this allowing this publicly, how it's allowing that? Do you remember we have talked about the network connectivity methods, right? Those comes here. Okay, I will discuss later, but currently know that how we are going to access the storage account. So how to mount the storage file share, how we can mount to your machines. Anyone is doing now?
Username password.
Okay, storage account name and key. Let me know once you're done. I will tell us other options. Anyone tried?
Bro, I'm unable to do that, bro.
Can you see the screen? Or you're not able to do?
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, can you share your screen?
Can you stop your screen?
Okay. Okay. Copy paste that. No. Copy
Yeah.
paste.
Okay.
Okay. So no. Wait. You're following. Follow the process. Connect to using different credentials. Okay. Yeah, click finish. Copy the storage account name. Azure admin.
Not this, bro.
What is the Azure? What is the Azure admin? I've given the storage account name to the user. Okay.
This is demo st0124222.
Demo. I given the demo that the name.
Which
I put
one?
in the same chart. No.
In chat we have, bro. Username and password.
Can you give me, bro? Someone, bro?
Username is storage account name.
Demo STG 1204. No, it's
Yeah, that is I'm saying.
demo STG.
This is username. Password.
Password I pinged you know that key it will come.
It's lengthy password, that one.
Bro, why? What are you doing, bro? When I'm doing, you should not listening. I told you to select as a remember password. This way only you do in your. You have to read all options. You have to do very slowly. Not you are very fast to stick with the next options clicking okay. Give that username password. If it's not connecting, you can. If you give me, if it's not connecting, I will tell you. If you can give Azure admin. Sorry, Azure slash. You can give username also. But if you demo, yeah. Now you can give the password. Select as a remember my credentials. Yeah. Click OK. Okay, you do that in user before username. Don't close before username.
Hmm.
Before username, I said. Why you remove the username? Okay, and give Azure
Okay.
slash.
Hmm.
You can click OK now. Select is removed. Yeah, click OK. Still is not allowing. You do
Password is incorrect, bro.
password is incorrect. Can you copy the right password? Okay, you are giving that spelling is something. Check the spelling of name of the only. You can click finish. Azure admin, why you are giving? Azure admin is the server name password, not the storage account. It won't take this much time. Wait, what is it showing? Connecting? No, it's not showing any error now.
Connecting to.
Okay, instead of Azure, can you give dot? Can you copy the username password? Yeah, can you remember? Dot. Can you give dot Azure? Normally Azure it has to work, not also dot Azure actually. Remove dot and try again. Give the password. I don't know why it's not working for you. Windows cannot access. Maybe the port is allowed for you. This is your personal laptop or office laptop?
Office laptop.
I don't think so. You have that 443 and SMB protocol is allowed, or maybe that could be the issue checking the spelling, but that you're not getting that error. Checking spelling of the name, otherwise might be problem with the network. Your network to identify is all. Okay, it's coming a network error. Can you try your personal laptop and let me know? I don't know your laptop if you have any restrictions, but
Okay.
this is my personal laptop.
Current I'm not having current personal laptop.
Uh,
Someone at Bubble, can you check once?
Yeah, bro. Present, I don't have that personal laptop, bro. We'll check later, bro.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
So
Later
okay,
I'll connect. If any issue, I'll let you know.
okay, fine.
I saved that username, password, and that link.
Yeah, no, you can take it again if you want. You can take it from the portal.
Mhm.
Minimize this. Okay, so that way you can able to mount the file share to your machine actually.
So this key is the password.
The key is the password. So this is the one method. You can connect the storage account. Okay, and this is just key to if you want to mount, you can use this, or we have other methods to access a storage account. Okay, now currently we are trying to connect using uh, network drive mounting file share. Correct. Suppose if you install the storage explorer, we have a storage explorer. Okay, let me show you that shit. I don't know, this laptop is not responding. Of the Azure storage explorer. Let it open. Using Storage Explorer also you can access the storage accounts. I'll show you how you can do that. Let it open. Discuss other things. Okay. So this way you can use this one is method is access key. You can able to access the storage account. Using this method, you can use the mounting, or you can use the storage explorer. So using access key, you can able to connect the storage account. You can able to upload or download whatever the operations you do. So same operations you can do using the storage account. But this is the one method. Using storage account you can access the storage, you can access this connection method, you can access the storage account. Okay, that I think it's loading it. Okay, this is the one. Okay, now let me go this overview. We know about the overview where we can see the storage account. Okay, so you can see right here the resource group subscription and what performance tier. Here you can see right, this is the standard. Okay, and you see the replication, it is LRS. Okay, it is a storage account, is general purpose 2. So when it was created, so this information you can see data like, and file share features and the networking features, all like the queue table, this all you can see the configuration, and you can see the monitoring option. So what are the basic metrics? You can see the like ingress and outgress data. Okay, here you can able to see for last date or how many hours, 12 hours, 7 day or 7 days. You can able to see the all the metrics of the like ingress and outgress, the data high ups, it's been transition rate, you can able to see in this graphs. Okay, and here we have the capabilities. We can do static web pages also, you can able to host in the storage accounts, and we have a data protection. Already we discussed about the data protection, and we have a life cycle management. We will discuss here, we will about the more in the life cycle management to protect these private endpoints. Already we designed the store private endpoint to storage the public access of storage. What are the capabilities of the storage account? Okay, we have this is tutorials and domains. Okay, very slow. Okay, these are the ones. PT log is just to uh, for the all the specific uses. You define that the name to identify the resource. And this is the we have discussed the diagnostic and resolve problems. So they have Microsoft given some recommendation or solution for the respective issues. Okay, and this is where you are providing the access for the storage account using Azure account or guest account, or however the account, if you want to provide or if you want to check the access. So access management you can see here. Okay, and we have a data migration option. So we have a data migrate. You can use the data migrate tool to move the data from one resource to another resource. Okay, or you can use other solution also. Data box, there is a called a different service. The data box, we can use the data box to migrate a data from one on-prem to Azure, or Azure to another cloud. So we can use that to the moving the data from one source to another source. Okay, so we'll discuss this data migration for more other options. Actually, if you want to see, suppose if your file share and you want to computer migration solution, you can select. Okay, and you can click this. You can, it will show you that how it's going to work. So it will targets, you can use a hybrid deployment also. If from using Azure file share, you can connect to on-prem also, it will work, and Azure file share to other cloud also, you can do this. Okay, and you can browse the, you can see these are the tools we can use the migrate. So these are the migration tools. So as I said, right, Azure data box. Okay, we can use where we can hundreds of TBs. So this is the best tool we can do, to move the data from one uh, Azure one cloud to another cloud, and cloud to on-prem. We can use that. Otherwise, we can use the Azure portal, which currently we uploaded the files and right, so that we can use. Otherwise, we can use the storage explorer, which we are talking about this. So this is storage explorer. Okay, and let me try to connect to storage account. This is old one actually. Um, Attach it. Let me attach that storage account from this explorer. Okay, and let me go. So here we have to click this public in quick connect access. Okay, once you connect, you will get the connection option. So this is the connection option. Here we can, how we are using, you are using for the storage account and services. If you connect this, right, you can see all the resources in Azure, like what is the supported service for the storage account. You can see all, like you can see blob file, queue table, under subscription you have access. You can able to see all. Okay, suppose currently we are going to check for the storage account and storage account or services, right? So I'm selecting that storage account, and I'm using, these are the three options. Okay, you either you can use key or SAS, or you can use the SAS, or we are going to use name and key. So I'm going to, currently I'm using for the storage account name and key. So I'm selecting the of that option. I'm going to click here. So here you are going to give that username password, so to access that storage account. So I'm giving this username, display name also same. So to display name in the sense how your storage account want to, you want to create a separate name, you want to give as a project name or your application name. So that's why like this is the storage account name, and let me give. So I've used the username and the key, right? So that's why I'm using, taking the key, I'm pasting here the key. Okay, I'm going to click next, and here is asking to use to connect for this resource. Yes, to connect. Okay, now that storage account is going to connect here. Now see, the connection is ended and it's successful. Okay, you can see the storage account, you can see here, right? The storage account is connected now. Just it's loading that the storage types. In a second, you can see once the storage account is connected, you can see this all four storage types. You can see here. You can see now blob container, file share, queue, table. So we have created a container there, right? Pano, you can see, and we have uploaded a file in that Pano container, right? So you can see that file here. See, you can see that file, which are the file you have uploaded in the this container. And let me go for the file share, and we have created the human name, and this is the quota. You can see this is 3 GB, and currently we have uploaded 1 GB usage. Okay, and let it browse that file share. So we have uploaded the file, right? You can able to see that file which we uploaded in the file share also. See, we can see that file. So this way, here you can download or upload or create a, you can open this, or you can create a new folder, or you can copy this from to here to another, to another storage account. You can do number of things here. So we have number of options. If you want to delete, and we have to view the snapshot, and we have to share the snapshots. And you can see, we have to connect to the VM. So you can do all this stuff. You can manage this storage account using these options. in the storage explorer. Okay.
If you want to copy or move files from one storage account to another storage account,
Yeah, you can do this.
you can do here, right?
You can just copy this file, and if you can try to blob also. Just to come. Just selecting by default here. Let me connect other storage account. Let's try.
So it is the only way to for movement of files.
Sorry.
It is the only way to move data files from one storage
You
account.
can download and you can upload also. And
Mm.
you can copy paste.
Mm.
Yeah, you can clone it. You can take it as a copy. Also, is nothing but a cloning. Right?
Yeah.
So it's copied already. And the second one I click twice, so it's copying second one also. So it's conflicting with the other file. So if you have the same file, it will ask you to replace or do not paste. So you have twice I have initiated it, so that's why you are getting the complete file here. So if you don't paste, you can apply. Okay, though then that way you can cancel that. Okay, so this way you can copy paste from one storage file to another. or if you want to delete, you can click delete, it can be deleted. You want to delete or you want to keep enable soft delete for this container. Because of container soft delete we have not enabled, we enabled only blob soft delete and file share, file level storage soft delete only we have enabled. So container level soft delete we have not enabled. So here also you can enable the soft delete while clicking here, but we don't want to enable currently soft delete, then you can click yes, it will get deleted. If we enable a soft delete, you can enable it. Okay, it will get delete, but it will be stored in but you can able to restore from 7 days. So it's asking currently it's been disabled. If you can save it.
If you disable soft delete, directly it will go permanent delete now itself.
Yeah, if you delete, if you disable the soft delete and you can delete it, then it will go be permanent delete. Okay, so you can't able to then you can't able to retrieve that. Let me delete that.
So usually how many days will keep, bro? I mean soft delete will keep 5 days, 10 days, 12 days for soft delete.
So it's going to be deletion I'm going to do here. See, this is old version. That's why it's maybe it's very slow. I have to install the latest version. And only I think you can see more option. Try to. I will install after the class. I will try to install the latest one. Okay, now it's been deleted. You can select all if you want to use. Select all. If you want to perform, you can do this. Okay. So these are the options we have. Okay, all blob without current version, active blob and blob with current version, sharp delete. We have so this one sharp delete, right? Undo if you click select selected one and delete selected one. Okay. See, you can able to restore that and deleted one. So that way you can able to restore the if you have deleted any files in the container level. If you enable the container soft delete, so you can instead of restoring the storage account, so what are the files we have deleted from the containers levels, we can able to retrieve. You can see right how we have done it. So that way you can able to delete and restore the files, and if you want, if you move that, you can move from one file to another storage account also you can do this. Okay, this is the one way you can access the storage account. Okay, so this how you are accessing, you are accessing using the key via storage Azure Storage Explorer. Okay, and one more method which we see, mount the file share to the storage account. Sorry, mount the file share to the your VM, your VM or your desktop, however you want, you can do it. Okay, let me go here, and we have mounted the storage account to my mission, right? Let me do one more task here. Let me explain one more case. Okay, this is the one. Okay, then I will come that option. If you have any doubts up to here, if you find, then I will start with the security and networking option. I was explaining this one. So this is the tools, and then I came into the Storage Explorer and explained about the Storage Explorer. So these are the tools which we can use to PowerShell and agent copy, Azure CLI, and Azure portal, your data box, and we can use the Storage Explorer. Okay, these are the ways we can. These are the tools available to access a storage account to perform the whatever you want. Like these are the common tools to use for the to moving the data or copying, pasting, and uploading and downloading. And these are the tools which we follow to move the data. So that is called a data migration. So we have talked about a file share, right? So same like that, if you want to create a PowerShell script for that, using that storage account and the key you have to update in the script, and you can do. Or we are same thing. This all it comes as a box in a command prompt. Like so, agent copy is the tool you have to install this tool, and then after installing, you can run the agent copy from the source. You have to give the source path. How the robo copy will work, right? Robo copy. Do you know about the robo copy? Same
Yeah,
length.
but I didn't perform any.
Okay. So same way it will work for the Azure copy, agent copy also. And using Azure PowerShell and CLI both are same, but the using for the CLI like module, and this is using PowerShell module. So there is a difference. And here we are using currently we are using it Azure Storage and Explorer, and we can use Azure Portal as well, which we have used earlier, that container creation and uploading the files, right? So that we can use for this using the Storage Explorer. Okay. And we have a large files come 100 GB that is difficult to manage from the Storage Explorer. So that time we can use the Azure data box. We have to create a one Azure data box. We have to create a one request for in Azure database, Azure data box, and we have to plan. We have to data box plan has to be created, and we have to upload the data, and we can transfer the data from source to destination. That we can use. We have other tools also. Data box edge, and Azure data box disk. We have box heavy, still is in preview, Azure data box gateway. So these are the other options to migrate the data from one on-prem to Azure to on-prem, or Azure cloud to another cloud. Okay. And this is the storage browser. This is not in online, like it's the same like a storage explorer, but still is not in online actually. So I mean to say it's been not live, and it is there still is in preview mode. Okay. This also looks like same storage explorer. So how we are going to managing the files and queue and table, right? Same thing, that tool is coming here only. So before here we have a storage explorer option, so they're replacing with the storage explorer option, they are giving the storage browser. Okay. So same way, like if you click here, you can able to see files, and if you want to add a new file share, and you can create. Okay. See all the file share. Let me view on. Oh, here we don't have any file share, right? Okay, sorry. We have only here. So here we have that file share. You can click that file share. Okay, you can see this is a file share. Okay, if you want to add new file share, you can do. Okay, if you go for inside the file share, you can do all upload. Okay, if you want to download, you can select. You can download. Yeah, you can download.
Same options in data storage, bro. Same, both are same, right? Data storage browser and data storage.
Yeah, before it was there in the storage explorer, they are replacing with the storage explorer to storage browser.
Okay.
So if you want to manage from directly from Azure portal, so you can use the storage explorer browser. You can manage it, or you can directly go for the specific storage type, and then also you can able to manage the storage. Okay, you can see here, if you want to switch back to storage,
Oh.
also we have that option. So currently we have a storage browser. They are given the option. If you don't want to use storage browser, you want to go back to switch to storage explorer, also we have. So we can, both options we can use it. Okay. So that is the storage explorer. Okay, and the events is just for the, this also it's been added newly, before it was there in preview last week. So we have the events, like suppose you some data using this data, you have to move from somewhere automatically. So you can create a logic app, and it can be automate. Okay, what are the data comes into the storage account, it has to move to the any database or any Power BI. If such tools you can able to integrate, or if you have any SFTP or that we can able to do using logic app or Azure function. You can move the data automatically from here to there or another cloud or whatever it could be. You can define the that Azure function here. You can move that Azure event. It will get create that automation continuously. That automatically you can schedule that and it can be moved. But that event grid you can build here. This is comes, it has been very high level actually. I mean to say it's been comes as a in the DevOps part. Also functions, logic apps, events, this comes as a like DevOps part. But just you want to know that it can be a support for this feature or not, we have to know currently. Okay. And these are these options, and we have discussed these 4 types and how the hierarchy, and we have created containers and file shares. So mostly we use the blob containers and file shares only. It's a very rare case we are using for the queues and tables. Okay, so mostly we have to concentration on this. Okay.
Okay.
And we have other options. So it will take long time to discuss this actually. So here the network option and access key already we discussed, and this network option is very important. Okay, and shared access signature and geo replication, how to enable, how to replicate, and data protection we have discussed, and life cycle management we have to discuss more. The remaining things we have to go with the options, but very important options here is access key, networking, and shared access signature, and geo replication and lifecycle management. Okay. Yeah, those are the more very critical options. So where it comes in normally the BU operations, like what are the requests will come based upon that, and these are the ones like create a containers and moving the data and create the file share and increase the file share quota and provide the access. This kind of create a new file shares. These requests will come basically. Okay. So if you have any questions for today, then we can discuss in 5 minutes, and we'll connect for tomorrow for from security and networking. We'll discuss from tomorrow for these all options.
Yeah, okay, sure, we'll find it.
Have any question? So no one is there here.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, just no disconnect.
Okay then. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, we'll connect tomorrow, bro. Thank you. Bye.